So can you imagine the ones that are coming in the purest of form with the purest of heart? What do you want to say? They're sacrificing themselves, self-sacrificing. They know it's going to be difficult, and challenging, but they don't have any real understanding or real world experience with incarnating in vessels to understand how difficult and challenging it will be. They will feel like they've fallen from grace. They will feel like it'll be a massive shift from them to fall from where they are to here, like fallen from heaven. Hi, everybody. I'm coming on live and I'm channeling Erik. We haven't channeled Erik for a while. And for those who are still curious about who Erik is, he is a soul that has crossed over a few years ago at the age of 18. And for me, I love channeling Erik because he's blunt and he's straight to the point. He's an indigo. He's like really straightforward. Over the years since I've been channeling him, which is I think about 7-8 years now, and what he says typically goes. The easy path versus the hard path coming up here in the future. And we have a choice between one or the other. And so I thought, well, let's listen in and see what he'd like us to hear, which path we will be choosing. And then the other thing that he's showing in my mind is there's the easy path or the hard path, and then there's these layers in between of varying different paths that lead us down one way or the other. So depending on even what we do in the smallest of decision making, it will lead us invariably down one or the other. So I'll let him explain that. There's big decision making and then there's smaller decisions to be made. And most of the population on Earth is unaware of what is afoot, what is happening, what is transpiring here on Earth. And they will sheepishly take this path without knowing what exactly it means. And so this is why it's important to be aware of what is coming and what is transpiring. So there's only one path or another in the future. There are smaller decision making that will lead us down one or the other. So for example, if we decided to start learning how to grow our own fruits and vegetables and raising livestock, how to use milk in a way that you could use for cooking, butter, and other associated products, he says this would be wise. He's smiling and he's saying that a lot of us are going to school to learn certain degrees, information that will be removed shortly after your education. So many of you are going to school and a lot of what you're learning will be taken over by AI. They won't need as many doctors. They won't need as many lawyers. They won't need as many accountants. So if you have a job in the future, then you'll be one of the 50 percenters for a time, and then it will become less and less and less and less and less. So for a time, it'll be around 50% of us have an actual job, but then it will become less over time as each year moves along and AI picks up speed. In many ways, he says that many of us are not ready for what is to come, but that's okay, because there's no time like the present to learn. Okay? Oof. All right. The easier path, instead of going and getting a degree in something that will be removed or erased in time, is learning how to live off grid, learning about solar panels, learning how to construct your own home, learning how to make a cabin, learning woodworking, learning how to grow your own food, learning about horticulture, learning about how to capture rain. This is what is imperative for us to be learning right now. And this is more of the easier path coming up if we chose this path. I'm seeing where he's taking me. I'm like in the forest. I see a lot of trees. I'm learning how the cattle can graze in amongst the trees. I don't have to cut down a ton of trees. I allow the light to penetrate through the trees in order for certain plant life to grow along the canopy floor. And I use a lot of this plant life in my day-to-day usage for poultices, healing wounds, eating, any kind of health issues I might be having. The more dispersed we are on the landscape, the harder we are to control. When we are penned into a 15-minute city under a digital system, the much easier it is for them to control us. So the more dispersed out we are, the better. Whether we know of someone that has a piece of land and we rent on their land, or we buy a piece of land and we do a family compound, or we buy a piece of land and then we rent others to come and live on the land. Yeah, my hairdresser was telling me that his dad has a piece of land and he has like several people living on the land in their campers, and it's completely under the table. Nobody knows about it. And so that's one way of doing it. No one will know. Or they do know, and you just receive the income and then you move in that direction. Erik is saying, shh, best not to know like this. Okay. Erik said it, not me. Okay. So dispersed, spread out of the city centers, far away from the larger cities is preferred, is best. That's the easier path. That's more of the freedom path. Carefree, fresh air, clean, fresh drinking water, living off grid, outside. And he's just showing me children running around without shoes on and having communal campfires or fires, community gatherings, sharing each other's knowledge and food products and food preparation techniques. It's beautiful. Beautiful what he's sharing with me. Okay, so we take the power back into our own hands and we spread out, and then we're less likely to be controlled. Now, he wants to talk about the hard path. All right, here it comes. And as soon as he moves in this direction, I don't know if you guys can feel this, but I can. Immediately as we're moving in this direction, just see how your body feels. So right away, the top 3 chakra system centers that your spiritual team or whomever you're channeling will communicate through is your heart chakra right in the center of your chest, your crown chakra right on the top of your head, and then your solar chakra just above your belly button. And that's why when your team says, no, this isn't the right path, this isn't a good path, you'll get them close up. And so all your team has to do is slow the flow of energy coming through those chakra centers, and they become very tight and very uncomfortable. So immediately, as soon as we start moving in this direction, my chest starts getting tight, my head starts getting tight. Even this third eye is starting to tighten up, which doesn't often happen, but I'm feeling it. Now, luckily, he's not tightening up my solar chakra, which would make me really kind of sick to my stomach. So I'm like, thank you, because he knows I don't like that. So anytime you're about to do something, you kind of get that nauseous feeling and that tightness in the pit of your stomach. You pay attention, don't you? You say, ooh, whoa, this doesn't feel good. And this is what he's sharing with me. This path that he's about to talk about, the hard path, is a path in which is going to be a very difficult one. And it may not be difficult straight away, but as the years go by and generations go by, it's going to become more and more controlled and restricted and very easily controlled. And he just wants us to have a look at how China is right now. So a lot of the journalists have their bank accounts frozen. I don't know how they're living, I guess with loved ones who are paying for their groceries and such. And so Eric's saying, where has communism ever worked? Well, it hasn't. There's a reason why all the people that flee Cuba to the shores of Florida, and they leave their boats on the shores, but you don't ever see them. You don't ever see an American, oh, wow, look at this boat. I can't wait to get on a boat and go to Cuba. You don't ever see anyone doing that, do you? So you see the ones fleeing Cuba to get out of there, but you never see anyone free in the USA just chomping at the bit to get on a boat and head back over to Cuba and live there. And he says there's a lot of TikTok videos right now about what day-to-day life is like in Cuba and the depression that they face, the fact that the elderly have no care, no dental care, and at times no food, and what a regular meal is like during the day for them, what a good meal is like, and how meat is hard to come by. So you just don't get that. You don't get dessert. Okay. And so you don't maybe get the good things because the government controls everything and therefore the people suffer. There's a short little video that I've seen online. It shows what CBDCs will turn into in the future. Carbon footprinting, green energy, what it is they can flick the switch and turn off your energy anytime they want or anytime you misbehave, right? We've seen that in Spain. We've seen that in Portugal. We've seen that in different parts of the world. And so your day-to-day will be monitored. It will be monitored by cameras out on the streets, cameras on your car, cameras in your apartment building. He says you likely won't have cameras inside your apartment. However, there will be other ways of them surveillancing other than using cameras. So even your private space is not really safe. You'll have to monitor what you say, how you say it, who you speak to, what you do, where you go, if you're allowed, or if you have enough CBDCs given to you to even purchase meat or items that you would like to eat. Yeah, so in the video, she didn't have enough credits for meat, so she had to get mealworms instead because that's a source of protein. And as you well know, in the country of Canada, they started a factory to make crickets. And of course, we've seen Nicole Kidman trying to promote this online to eat bugs. And she sat there and ate 5 different bowls of bugs to show everybody eating bugs is a great source of protein. In Canada, the cricket factory, which was massive structure, they spent millions. I think it was like 12 million or 20 million on this facility. And their goal was to make crickets, bags of crickets for you to eat. Yum, yum. Except, guess what? Canadians didn't want to eat crickets. So basically, it went under. The government lost millions of dollars. The company went bankrupt. If you think this is a far-off stretch storyland that he's talking about, it's not. That was in Ontario. You should know, Shelley. It is totally gross. So I literally sat there and watched Nicole Kidman eat 5 different bowls of bugs, trying to sell it to humanity. Good luck. I don't mind if people want to eat bugs. I don't care. Eat your bugs. But forcing it on the populace, removing or restricting what they're allowed to eat and trying to replace it with bugs, that's different. He wants us to know that there's a lot of light coming and there's a lot of help coming. There's a lot of backup coming. And this is a battle between the dark and the light. Make no mistake of this. Make no mistake. And he wants us to know that it's up to us and our choices, our decision making. If we cave to this digital system, it will be our enslavement. And there are generations coming where they will also be enslaved. And that's pretty full throttle, Erik. He's saying that your soul, you will pass on. So you might not see the absolute worst of it. but the generations ahead will. And you will have to sit on the other side in heaven and look down at earth because of these decision making that you will make, and you will have to watch the generations ahead suffer from this compliance of this new digital system coming in. And if you think that these politicians and leaders care about you or humanity, they do not. And they will use the excuse of climate change or green energy and all the rest. But what it really is about control, compliance, and a money grab to tax you even further, to control you even further. So in this video that I watched that someone put together to warn people, another part of this video is other people in society tattling on you. So if they catch you saying something or doing something that you're not supposed to, they will snap or they'll show a video, send it into the government, and then they get extra credits or they get a bonus or so on and so forth. And I know from what I've heard, the bills that are about to be passed in Canada, if you tattle on someone, there's a chance that you'll get $2,000. So I have heard that. So you can rest assured if you go and you pay the populace money to tattle on others, then they're going to tattle on others, especially if everyone's broke and UBI is being used to help supplement people, and it's a whole digital system. So it's not just about compliance, but it will turn people on each other. And the ones who are outside the system, it will be a bit of a lawless land. So you won't be seeing the military or the police governing these areas. So you're going to have to shore yourselves up. But that'll be far better than what's coming for those stuck within these cities. This light that's coming and these high vibrational souls that are coming that have yet to incarnate on earth will be turning the tide. It's just a matter of when. So if this is coming and help and backup is coming, when can we expect that? I'm seeing like 100 years. We need enough souls to turn the tide. We have these souls coming. They keep telling me this. Souls that have not yet incarnated on earth yet. And so they are coming and they will start to populate the planet, but we need enough of them. We need bigger numbers of them. So this will take some time. And they also have to find their bearings. They have to find their legs here in this environment. I can't even imagine as a soul coming to earth for the very first time and you have no other experience under their belt. Is that what you're telling me? Oh my gosh. He's doing this. Correct. All of us here on earth right now, okay, after over 4,000 readings that I've done, and I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you I've done big numbers, and I've seen enough to say that all of us have had at least 3 to 5, that's the average, other locations where we've gotten experience under our belt before we come to earth. And in a lot of us have gone to Pleiadian planet to bolster our energy and to get a lot of positive light to tap into before we come to earth, because we knew earth was going to be this much of a beating, okay? Difficult at times. So if you can even imagine a soul that has never incarnated anywhere into physical form and is And you know what else this tells me, and Erik will tell me if this is correct, is that how desperate, or not desperate, I don't want to use that word. It must be enough of a challenging experience for God to ask these souls to come to earth for the very first time. Please come. We need you to come in droves. Come and populate the planet in droves, without any other experience, just to bring their purest of light here, to turn the tide. He agrees with me. if God is calling up these souls to come and bombard the planet like this, things must be dire enough to do so. Crazy. Oh, wow. And I'm telling you guys, like, when I have really ungrounded kind of people that are feeling lost on planet Earth, when I go look at their starseed origins, they're vastly different than human. So they come to Earth and they're floundering. And they come to me for readings quite often. They're having a difficult time. So I do my best to channel spirit to help and to get them grounded back into their body, because they don't want, their soul is having such an adverse effect, having such a difficult time on Earth, that they're so ungrounded and all over the place and trying to disconnect and disassociate when being here. And those are the souls that have already had experiences before coming to Earth, but they're so different, like they're way different than human. And so human and Earth's frequency is so overwhelming for them. And then they come to me for a reading. So can you imagine the ones that are coming in the purest of form with the purest of heart? They're what do you want to say? They're sacrificing themselves, self-sacrificing. They know it's going to be difficult, and challenging, but they don't have any real understanding or real world experience with incarnating in vessels to understand how difficult and challenging it will be. They will feel like they've fallen from grace. They will feel like it'll be a massive shift from them to fall from where they are to here. Like fallen from heaven. Okay? And I'm sure many of us feel that way now on Earth. But we know how to bolster ourselves. We know how to bring in the light. We know how to shift things and move things into. You have to know how to, what's the wording you would say on Earth? You have to know how to adapt. Thank you. Adapt and course correct. Yes. Thank you. Because that's what I often say. You have to know when, okay, if this isn't working, you got to know how to course correct. You also have to know how to, manage things yourself and figure things out. And some souls are good at that and some are not. They're just not going to be capable of stepping up to the plate and doing things that are extremely uncomfortable or out of their element. They're not interested in learning in that way or growing in that way, which is fine. I am definitely the first. I jump off the cliff when they tell me, meaning I'll do things that are out of my comfort or out of my element. And I do it sometimes begrudgingly. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. This is great. And then I just run with it. And then they're like, whoa. They'll jokingly say that I'll sprint ahead. And some are more in a leadership position and some are more in a following position. And that's fine. Either way is fine. But these souls will need our help when they come here. Rest assured of that. He says, yeah, these new souls, they're going to need us. They're going to need us so much. Okay. So and here's the other thing. When things get stressful or difficult, you can go out into nature. You can go out amongst the trees. You can go out and go for a walk or a hike. Go for a swim in the ocean. Go for a swim in the lake. But he says, can you imagine being trapped in a 15-minute city and you can't go out? You can't connect. You cannot connect with nature. You cannot go for a swim. You cannot go for a walk or a hike. So that'll make things far worse. With that level of depression, humans will be dropping like flies. But essentially that's what they want. They want depopulation on the planet right now. 9 billion is too much for them to control. So if they can get the populace down to what? You think around 500 million? Roughly. And then build it from there, reprogramming them, brainwashing them in the way that they want them to be. And that's correct. And this is why, another reason he says why God is flooding the planet with these high vibrational souls, because we need more numbers. We need higher numbers. We need more people. We need more light to bear down on this planet. in physical form and in non-physical form. So you've got the souls coming into physical bodies in physical form, and then you have God's light and the archangels, and you have the ET energy, and you have Erik, and they're in the non-physical. And so we have them all bearing down on the planet right now. And this is only going to increase as the days go by. So these corrupt leaders that are easily manipulated and controlled by the dark think that they're going to get their way, but we are racing against the clock to stop them. And it will take each and every one of us and our non-compliance to stop them. And even then, they will keep coming at us and keep trying different angles. So, okay, you can't work unless you do digital ID. Okay, well, we'll take away your health care. Okay, well, we'll take away your education. Okay, well, we'll take away your phone. We'll take away your Wi-Fi. That's the only way you can get out of the digital ID. Okay, so in the UK now they're coming out with that. So if you don't have a smartphone, then you can just not have digital ID. So the older generation that doesn't have a smartphone, they're okay. They're just not going to have digital ID. So now, but who's going to live like that, right? Who's going to live a life like that? What if your whole business or your whole life is online? He says that May election is coming soon in the UK, and it's really important you guys vote for Nigel Farage. It is so imperative. This is it. This is your last chance. It is the last election you will ever have. And for Nigel, he better protect himself and not allow them to take him out before he gets there. Because you guys remember in Germany, that so far they've taken out 16 people. 16. I think it might be 17 now. So if there's any chance of anyone going up against the leading group in Germany, they kill them. So they just off them. 16 to 17 people gone now in the last year. So, yeah, it is that dire, he says. It is this dire. Although they'll make it seem like it's fine. It's just, this is how we have to do it because we have a lot of immigrants and in order to police them properly, and all the while they're just letting them in the door. They don't know who's coming. They don't know where they live. They don't know where they're going, and they're just rushing them in. They want to overwhelm the systems. They want people to starve. They want people to have a difficult time. The only decent thing, he says, and he says it with sarcasm, okay? In Canada, they offer the MAID program. So if you say, oh, I'm depressed, they'll just say, okay, and they'll put you down. And we have the highest numbers of this so far. Now, if you actually have something happen like early onset dementia or cancer or something that this is obviously the case, but he's also talking about organ harvesting, and he's also talking about bloodletting. So our blood and our organs are worth a lot of money. And it's also a form of being able to make money off of us, just like the Ukrainian soldiers. There's videos of that happening as well, where they will use, if it's a fresh, then they will use the organs and they will make millions of dollars off the Ukrainian soldiers. There's a lot of dark things happening on this planet, and he doesn't want to bring us down, but he wants us to understand that our compliance is our prison. And we get to choose right now which path we will take. He says in the US, there is going to be massive resistance to this and the US is a great beacon for the rest of the world to show them strength and courage and freedom and autonomy. And everyone's looking to the US for this. Whether you think the US is a great place to live or not, or whether you want to run to some other country or whatever you want to do, rest assured, the US is where we are all looking toward. And then there's certain states like Texas that, banning Sharia law, Montana, banning the WHO's decision-making over the planet. They are attempting to take over, but they will be dismantled. It's just a matter of, it's a race against the clock as to the timing of this dismantling. The EU, the WHO, he says Trump is the kingpin, or he's the catalyst. He's the one who is disrupting their plans, you see. And the US is in infancy as far as industry and building a bright, shiny, large economy where many wealthy can make even bigger bucks. Until the heart leads the way, they will let money, power, and greed lead the way, you see. He says it's about to become a lot more intense for us soon. And this is why he is being this way and this intense with us. This conversation he's having with us is nothing in comparison to what is coming. Nothing. He says we'll see in 5 years who will win out, and the dust will settle. And even when we get an upper hand, they will try a different tactic, a different move. So we must be kept on our toes and not allow any compliance, or what's the other wording you're saying? We cannot take our foot off the gas. We cannot say, oh, good. Oh, we're good now. Nope. He says we can have moments where we take a breather, moments where we disconnect and detach. But really building our own empires out on the land, away from large city centers, that's the best thing we can do right now. And for those of you who cannot, he understands that. He understands that, you can't just go live off, in the middle of nowhere, or you don't want to go live out in the woods. That's fine. But for those of you that can do, you see a future with flying cars and air traffic. What do you see? Already starting. Flying drones with humans inside. Starting. Yes, correct. Yeah. Hoverboards. And then it will grow from there. He says you won't need as many jobs because AI will know the answers and will be able to figure out the problem solving far faster, cheaper, quicker. So in the positives of this is answers to curing certain things. That's if our overlords decide to allow that information out through AI. The way he said that. AI will know the answers, but will we get the answers? Or will it be silenced from us, kept from us? So you guys always know, I've always said, because the angels have always said this, that over years long before we came here, the earth was sending an SOS signal out for more of us to come, to bring our light here to populate the planet in order to turn the tide, in order to lift the frequency up to a certain level, to then allow God to bombard the planet even harder. Because if we were down here and none of us came here, or we didn't move up a tick in frequency, then God couldn't match us down here. Picture God through the roof, and we're here. So all of us came to populate the planet, to raise it up to this level, and then it allows God to come in and just little waves. It started out with little waves once a month. Now we got the big waves coming in. Now and then it's going to go up and up. Okay. And so the question you have here is Mother Earth sending out another call, another SOS call? She doesn't need to. Help is here, and more help is on the way. But she is always in constant connection and communication with God and the life forces upon her back. Anytime any one of us would like to communicate with the earth directly, simply speak with her. You can sit and listen. You can feel your root chakra light up. That will be coming from her. You can ask her to do that. Ask her to light up your chakra centers and see what it feels like. She is a multifaceted being, and she is very intelligent, and she is very much aware of what is transpiring upon her back. And she is assisting God in clearing this debris, these insects off her back that are heavy in frequency, in order, like shedding, she's shaking it off in order to bring in more light. So she's helping to do that, transmute. I've seen huge portals where she's transmuting a lot of heaviness. She's getting this heaviness off her back. And then what happens? They do it within us, and they do it within the planet, because she's an entirely different being. And same with us. That's why we ask to transmute our low vibrational thoughts and anything else we want to give into the light. Any problems that we have, we give to the light, because what happens is the light will take it, transmute it, and then it leaves a space within you for the light to fill with more light. Get her. And then you get bombarded with more light, and more light. And the same thing is happening with the earth herself. And then what the earth wants is cleaner waterways, and she wants herself to be cleaned up. And I see that in 13 years' time. I see a lot of cleaning happening. Cleaning up of the oceans, changing, moving in a different direction where we use products that are more environmentally friendly. Plastics are reduced. He misses the days when we would get our milk delivered in glass bottles. We have to find new ways to keep her clean and help her lift in frequency. Yes, we have to do our part to help her lift in frequency. Good. The new babies coming to Earth, the new souls. Yes, new souls. Totally new. Some of us will be asked to help them. Some of us will be asked to keep coming back to Earth, to come to Earth with them, to help them. Can you imagine? Hey, we're going to need you to go back to Earth because we got a lot of newbies here and we need you to help them. Oh. No. All right. Okay. How you do? I think I tell my team, I'm like, if we're locked down in a digital system, I am not coming back. And they tell me, you'll be born outside this digital system. Oh, great. So I'm going to be out on the land and I'm going to be with nothing. What about medicine and painkillers and, like seriously, what if, so, and then they tell me there'll be bartering happening between the outside world and the digital locked in world. I'm like, great. So you'll have the go-betweeners, they call them. He's calling them the go-betweeners that will move the products that we need in and out of the digital system. Great. And the newbies in the future, when they keep coming to Earth and populating, they'll be born outside the digital system, both inside and outside, to help dismantle the digital system and to help lift and raise the frequency of the planet herself and the energy in general on planet Earth. So these low vibrational energies that are here on Earth, they know their time is limited. They know they can't win this, but they're going to do everything that they can to try to win it. Every little bit is a win. Every bit. Who wins an election? Who makes decision making for what? It's between the light and the dark. It's always back and forth, but the light's already won. It's just a matter of time to free us from they keep calling them the slave masters or the taskmasters that have been running this planet for millions of years. What are we talking about here? For a very long time, he says. Yeah, that's why they're trying to silence us, he says. Is the government of Ontario trying to take over the water supply? They have passed a law to make water and waste water private utilities and strip them out of the public services. Yes, correct. He says this is correct. Yes. Just like your utility bill went up 30% as of December 1st. They're going to make it impossible to live on Earth, as impossible as possible. Great. Also, the other thing he's talking about is certain springs in the US being purchased by China, and then they bottle up water to sell back to the American citizens. And unless we get a lockdown on essentially privatizing each country of our services instead of being raked over the coals and our own governments taking from us or other governments taking from us. Right now, Canada is a free-for-all. Right now, the US is attempting to gain back autonomy and control of itself, and it will succeed. There's too much at stake here in Canada for the light to allow the darkness to take over. It's just a matter of time before the light takes back control here. What's happening in Canada is they're making things so unaffordable and so difficult in a very cold climate, talking about replacing all of our automobiles, our gas-powered cars with electric cars that don't even start in the winter. They can't even use the electric buses to bus people around in the cities in the winter. So they're making things so unaffordable and so difficult that when Bill C-15, the MAID program, is there, people take it, especially when you're an elderly person, because you literally can't survive on $3,000 to $4,000, like $3,000 a month for a single person. You're barely making it. Like, if anything happens, you're done. Like, you're not even going to make it. And if you say you get to be of an older age and you don't have any family, or maybe you don't have many friends to help you, or you don't feel like living in a shared space with 10 people in a house, so maybe quality of life isn't so great. So then you start to think about the MAID program because it's there. It was a politician speaking on behalf of a lot of the elderly people that she had been speaking to, conversing in our parliamentary system, saying that they're all waiting to be able to take this MAID program because they can't live anymore. Literally can't live. So we'll see what happens. We need things to get better. We need things to get easier, and we need good people who care about the people in power. And then we have to protect them with all of our might so that they don't get taken out. Yes, me too. All the time, Shelley. Constantly. But it's like, I really feel like the US and Canada are a perfect team. We're very similar. We've had it easy with the US. Life has been easier than many, and we've always had protection. We're like the US's little brother or cousin. And I don't know why that makes me so emotional when I say that. But it does, because to have that separation from the US doesn't feel right. And all we get from the CBC and the CTV, which is the government bought media, is this jargon about the orange man bad and the US is bad, when in fact we just have had such poor leadership for so long. And yet the other day when I was having a conversation with a boomer, she's like, Mark Carney's great. He's wonderful. He's a businessman. He's going to change things. And I said to her, well, a lot of the young generation feels differently. They don't like this government. And she said, oh, well, if anything goes by my daughter, not very, like basically saying her daughter isn't that smart. And she feels the same way. She feels that this government isn't good because they're flooding us with immigrants. You can't get a job. You can't get housing. You can't get anything. And the government is funneling money in and paying for these immigrants to be here. And so they probably show up to these apartments or these places to move into with government money. And these landlords know this. So they know it's a sure thing that the rent's going to get paid. And so they pick these people over us regular Canadians, right? Why do you think I'm getting emotional with that? Because the two of us go hand in hand, the US and Canada. We always have. It's just this jargon that we're hearing from the media outlets, and they want us to be brainwashed. Canadians need to wake up, do their own research off of their boob tubes, and get moving, because time is running out for us and things are going to get worse before they get better. He's saying that. And I channeled that yesterday with another client of mine. Things will get worse before they get better. He wants each of us to know that he loves us, that he's here for us, to support us, and he's fighting and rooting on our behalf. And if we need any help or assistance or backup, that we can call on Erik anytime we want, and he'll be right here for us. So all you have to do is ask. And just letting everybody know, if you'd like to join in with the group Healing with Jesus on December 14th. And I think more now than ever, we really need that. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, you guys, have an awesome weekend. Love you. And I will see you next week on Saturday at 10 a.m. PST. Love ya. Bye.